Are you ready for bold moves and powerful inner shifts? Welcome to the Bold and Brilliant podcast, where women share the decisions that changed everything. Today's guest is Kat Mitchell, Master Transformation Coach, Certified NLP Practitioner, and Hypnotherapist, who helps high-achieving women release self-doubt, imposter patterns, and the hidden stories that keep them playing small. With a deeply intuitive yet practical approach, Kat blends neuroscience, NLP, hypnotherapy, and energy work to create true inner alignment and authentic confidence. In this episode, Kat shares the bold decision that transformed her path and how shifting from the inside out can change everything. Welcome, Kat, to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. Kat Mitchell, I am so excited that you're here for the podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Yay, I'm so glad I'm here too.
Yeah,
I get
I'm
to finally
thrilled.
be on your podcast
I
after.
know. I'm so excited about it because, I'm really doing a push to get a number of episodes out. And those of you who are in the Gather community, I asked way back when, but it just never was the right timing for you and me to get together. So I'm thrilled that we're able to still make it happen in season one.
Yay.
Yay. All right. So, one of the things that happens here on the podcast is I get to have great conversations with people who I've known for a long time, but I'm always trying to dig for new pieces of your story that I might not know already, and that maybe our listeners, especially if they're in our community, might not know already. So one thing that I know about you, and we'll talk about that in a bit, is that you worked in tech, in corporate, and then ongoing, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I'd love to hear about you before that happened. Like, what were you like growing up that made you decide to go into that kind of a field? Like, tell us about the Kat Mitchell origin story, if you will.
So I'm laughing because the Kat Mitchell origin story says I am never sitting behind a desk. I am never doing tech. I took a computer class when I first started college and said, heck no, that is not for me. That is a painful experience.
To sit there at a desk looking at a screen all day long.
I I walked out of the class and said, just take me out of this class. I need creativity. I need to do something different. And, you know, it's weird because back then I didn't know all that mindset stuff. And I
Yeah,
continuously had that thought, I'm not going to sit at a desk. I'm not going to sit behind a computer. I'm not going to, and all that. I'm not going to.
oh, that's so funny. That is really interesting. So if you didn't think you wanted to sit behind a desk, or if that was definitely where you didn't want to go, where did you want to go? Like, what were you hoping to accomplish other than everything you told your brain?
So I had this, I was one of those kids where when I was growing up, I wanted to be in veterinary medicine. I wanted
Okay.
to help pets.
Yeah.
And I had those parents that said, well, there's not going to be any pets to be a vet when you get older. So that's not probably the path that you want to go on.
That's a really weird, interesting perspective. Why did they think there weren't going to be any
I
pets?
have no idea. I have no idea. Nonetheless, I canceled that out of my brain. And by the time I got to college, it's like, well, okay, let me figure out what I want to do. So I was the college experimenter. Let's go into pre-med. Let's try this. Let's try chemistry. Let's try
Oh,
English
you're so
literature.
scientific.
Yeah,
That's not surprising at this time, but very interesting nonetheless.
I took psychology, I took sociology. So I was challenging myself in this creative science path, in this biology, um, psychology and sociology of the mind, really understanding that. Staying completely away from tech after my first experience. So, so coming back to how did I get in tech? I was actually I don't even remember who introduced me to who, but somebody introduced me to this gal who says, I need you to work for me in the insurance industry. And I was working in insurance, underwriting policies. And I was working for a company that said, hey, we want to write our own software and we need somebody who understands insurance well enough
Mm.
to, build that collaboration between insurance and tech.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I know the product, but I don't know tech. That's not my thing.
Right.
And so I slowly started helping the tech team understand insurance. And then I'm like, all right, now because I'm one of those junky learners, I'm like, all right, now I need to understand tech better because they're telling me to do this testing stuff and they're telling me
Mm.
to do development stuff and they're telling me to do this. And I'm like, and I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
I don't understand any of it. It's not what I do. And so then I decided to interview for companies. And the only reason why I got into a specific company is because when I went in for the interview, it wasn't that I had all the skill set. It was that we sat there and cracked jokes and we were laughing so hard, the interviewer and I, that he says, crap, you're just hired. We'll figure out how to train you.
I love this. It's so interesting because, the strengths that you brought to all of that, you're super analytical, very like clear-minded, great communication, right? Like those are all the things that they needed for that insurance to tech conversations to happen.
Right.
And that scientific brain that you had to be able to see things and understand deep ideas and everything was what you were bringing to the table, and you didn't even know that that was where it was going to be. That makes so much sense. I love it.
In a weird, yeah. And then after I actually started working in it, then I went back and got my degree in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
and
So I never
and
finished
so
college until 40 when I went back. And then the same month I was finally graduating at 40, HP called me and says, hey, we want to bring you on as a consultant. I'm like, why would HP bring me on as a consultant? And so they had heard from
yeah,
people that I had
through
worked with. Yeah. So it was really weird.
yeah, I love that. Well, because you could speak the language. Even
I
if
could
you
speak the
didn't
language.
have 20 years of experience, you could speak the language. And it's that, my husband's an engineer, and we talk about his frustrations as an engineer in talking with the customer facing people. And it's like they are the bridge. And so you were a big bridge, right? Because you could speak the language, even if you weren't the person right in every line of code. You knew exactly what the goals were, what the client was trying to have, what all of the pieces. You could bring it all together. Yeah.
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 Which is how I ended up in, even when I got into tech, I
Mm-hmm.
would not do the development because it was,
Yeah.
for me, it was really weird. For me, it was like getting in somebody else's dirty laundry. It's
Yeah.
like, we're not touching that. But breaking stuff and testing it was
Yeah.
powerful until I started my own business. And then somehow breaking stuff,
Now we really don't want our own things to break. We'll break other people's stuff.
it still became a gift of mine. I'm like, dang it, now I'm breaking my own stuff.
Breaking your own things. No, don't do that. Okay, so let's talk about that. So you were in tech, HP hired you, you finished your career at 40, not career, college at 40, and you were with HP and doing, or not necessarily with them, but doing that work for how long? And then you made another big, bold decision, not just going back to college and finishing at 40, but another one, which was to say no to the next opportunity and do
So
something
yeah,
else.
from HP, I ended up at Cox Automotive,
Mm,
which designed all the software for dealerships. So, like when you go in and you see if you qualify for a loan
mm.
to purchase a car, that all that software was
All
the
the financial
software.
software. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
So we were writing that, and I was integrating that. My coaching actually started because all my teams were US, India, other countries.
Hmm.
And so that, the different cultures, the different speaking, communication styles, the
Yeah.
different, um, you
Like,
know,
how do you even man like the personal
yeah,
interfacing,
personalities
right?
and different
Hmm.
ways that they, you know, were willing to open up about challenges in software is how I entered the coaching world.
Yeah.
because I had a boss that said, hey, you need to learn how to get these people to talk to each
To
other.
talk to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where where coaching started and where I made that decision. That's where I was working when I made the decision that, all right, I can't do everything. And that decision was based off of the fact that in 2015, I was working 60 hours a week and I was taking care of my cousin with end-stage liver disease. And that
Mhm.
required me going into the hospital before work, at lunchtime, after work. And
And
then
you're trying to
I
work
got,
60 hours a week and keep that all going at the same time of
right.
three
And I
hospital
would hold
visits a day.
meetings before I left my house, and I would hold meetings after I got home from the hospital. And
How long
so
did that go on for?
6 months.
Yeah, that sounds like about the limit because it sounds exhausting.
So prior to that, I was a runner, I was fit, and then all of a sudden I tanked. And then I
Mm,
started regaining my energy. My dad got sick, and then I slowly started tanking again. And then, my mom started developing dementia, and then my brother had the stroke, and I'm like, I can't do it all. Here's my resignation. I'm just gonna leave and figure it out.
yeah. So give us
And
that timeline, right? That your cousin got sick. You were working 60 hours a week, he got sick. And then give us like the
so that
incremental
was
timeline.
that was 2015. End of 2015, she passed in 2016. Then end of 2016, my dad got sick, and he passed in the beginning of 2017.
So
And
fast
then
for everyone. Mm,
yeah. And then I moved my mom to up here to Auburn in 2017. And then 2019, my brother had the stroke,
brother. Mhm.
which is when I decided I can't do it all. I'm just gonna walk away and figure it out. Um, and then just as I was starting to figure it out, well, 2020.
Yep.
2020, I'm like, January 2020, it's time we got to start making some money
We're
because all we're
ready.
doing, we're just, letting the money go out of the savings, and it's depleting.
Yeah.
So put that on the calendar, start that business, and then everything shuts down. I'm like, all right, guess we're not starting that business this year.
So was this like a coaching business that you were thinking in January and what were you planning to do that the pandemic prevented you from doing? And obviously you had to shift it
Well, I had always been behind a desk. I'd always been,
in an office.
surrounded by the people that I worked with,
Mm-hmm.
because I worked in an office.
Yeah.
So when the world shut down and me starting a coaching business, I had no idea how to reach out to people
Right.
virtually. That
Yeah.
was not my jam. Yeah, I spoke to India teams virtually, but I'd already built that relationship with them.
Yeah.
They already knew who I was from many years of working together.
Well, and when you're in a corporate environment, like the team is the team. You don't go searching for them. You're not finding the
Right.
clients. It's a
Yeah.
whole different ball wax. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the world shut down, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm shut down too. It's like, because that was not a language I knew I didn't know that language.
Yeah.
Well, then 2021 came around, January 2021. Let's try this again. Let's
So did you spend most of 2020 not not working, not doing anything, like just waiting for it to
I
come back?
started taking classes, so became
Mm,
certified as a team coach through the European Mentorship and I forgot, EMCC, Mentorship and
coaching
Coaching
something.
Council.
Yeah, counsel.
So became certified through them as a team coach. Did some other trainings because, hey, what do you do? You,
Yeah.
you learn more. Um, and then 2021 came around and I decided to try it again. It's like, all right, let's try January 2021. And then that's when Bud passed away,
Mm.
which then shifted my world again because I was living in his house, which meant, all
And Bud
right,
was your partner.
uh-huh.
Yeah. For
And
it's the podcast. Not everyone knows who that is.
right, so that's true. So Bud and I had been together for 11 years,
Mm.
and he he passed away suddenly. It wasn't that I was taking care of him. And the summer before that, he'd had like 3 stents put in. So we thought he was good.
Mm.
Still ended up having a heart attack.
Oh,
Um, and so that created a different storm in the fact that I had to move. And here I was, I hadn't made any income in 2 years.
yeah. So like rental, like income proof for rentals and things like that.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, let's see what the world is going to open up for me now because we got to work some magic.
Yeah.
So I ended up actually buying a house through a hard money loan,
Mm.
through a friend of mine that was willing to do that. Worked out perfect, did that for a couple years. Still not the easiest thing. And yeah, so it's been a journey of a lot of twists and turns. Broke my arm, my right arm during the move.
Oh
Um,
no.
right, because apparently when you say, God, I just need a break, and then as I turn around and I tripped on the step to the new house, I broke multiple bones in my arm. Um,
Just needed a break. You're killing me. Oh my gosh.
so be careful what you ask for.
Wow. That's wild. Okay, so amazing. And so you had all these certifications, you started your coaching business, Bud passed, you're still taking care of your brother, you're taking your mom's in doing having her own kind of toward the end of life journey as an older lady. And then I know your mom passed away, your brother got better. We like this, and that's a good thing. And then I would say, around I would say this time last year, but that's too recent. A year and a half ago. Like when was it that your mom passed away?
So my mom passed away in August of 2024.
August. Okay. So yeah, so it's November now. So yeah, about a year and a half ago. Because that was a big, that was you were caring for your mom constantly. And then when she passed, obviously it's very sad, but it was also an opportunity for you to be like, okay, I have some of my life back.
Well,
What do you want
and
to do? Right?
with my brother and the stroke
Yeah.
impacting 3 areas of his brain, that led to conversations with doctors on how to build neural pathways. Because
Mm-hmm.
we had to do relanguaging and all that.
Right.
And then in addition, it's like, so I got neural pathways here, and then I got neural pathways with my mom that were breaking down
Because she had dementia.
because she
Girl.
had dementia
Yeah.
and Alzheimer's. So it's understanding the brain in you know, two different stages of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so those
And
conversations,
kind of decay and repair, like both
yeah,
sides of it, right? One
there
was
you go,
decaying, one
decay and
was
repair.
repairing.
I like that.
Yeah. You
So
can use that.
understanding that, and then that brain science and conversations with the doctor led me into neuroscience and having to understand it at that level, which then led me to, and I couldn't even tell you how I got on these paths, but then that led me to unconscious mindset work and understanding how a lot of the coaching that I had learned in corporate was at the conscious level,
Mm-hmm.
which is the reason why I wasn't always connecting with everyone that I was speaking to, because a lot of the conversations I needed to be having in those times was at the unconscious level because they had stuff going on from their childhood that we never talked about.
Well, and you're talking about bridging different cultures, whole different country, setups. And so I'm imagining like, again, referring to my husband, right? He has teams in India, there's people in Croatia or actually in Ukraine, I mean, and then of
Mhm.
course people here in the States. And, there is a disconnect between someone in India and someone in the States being able to really connect because there's just like you just don't talk. It's not only a language, it's like the underlying language, the
Right.
the language of respect and how
Mhm.
you introduce yourself to someone. One of the things he's always telling me is like they'll send a instant message or a message on Teams and it's just like "Hi, Tim." And he's like, "Hi, what can I do for you?" Like, in the hopes that they would say, "Hi, Tim, I have a question for you," and ask the question all in the first message. But that's not how they work, like socially and
Right.
in their, upbringing. So you were going through all that with your teams, and then you have this whole decay and repair, and that's like, how do those areas of life talk to each other? So it's really interesting how you've always been this bridge to understand the different stages of a communication, whether it's people
Yeah.
at work or people who are, healing or not.
Right. Yeah. And it's weird because the people that I work with that were from India and actually are based in the US,
Mm,
based on their visas and all
yeah.
that, are the ones that I stay mostly connected to in person. And I still go
Mm,
out and have lunch with them and everything else because that's how well we built those
the
relationships.
bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, to build that bridge.
Well, that makes so much sense, right? They relied on you to help the communication happen. And so you made a tighter bond with them as
Hmm.
opposed to people who are already here in the States who they just lived their life and
Right.
showed up, right? And it's a different perspective. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Which is the reason why now I have this new vision that's blossoming for next year.
Yeah. Anything you're interested in sharing?
So, this vision that I have blossoming for next year is to actually work with teams and leaders that are in that merger buyout state
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that communication is so different and unique and challenging. And yet, that bridge can be so
Yeah.
powerful,
Bridge the corporate cultures.
bridge the corporate
I
cultures.
love it. I love it. I mean, I was in facilities for 17 years and I did a lot of merging of buildings and moving groups together, right? And I totally see that the two different companies in a merger or an acquisition, which is almost always an acquisition, that even if they
Right.
call it a merger, um, yeah, they're not on the same page, and someone's feeling resentful and someone's feeling better than the others, and like there's all of those kind of funky dynamics about the two companies. I love that. I think that'll be amazing
Because
for
there's so much unknown when that happens.
and there's a lot of fear,
Yeah.
like, are we going to all lose our jobs?
Yep.
What's going to happen? Did they buy us so they could put us in the trash can? Like, did they only buy us for our tech and not for our people? Like, those are such recurring themes in all of that. I love that. That's amazing. Okay, so how do you use the Reiki and hypnotherapy in that? Which I
Well,
realized was not the plan, but let's touch on that because we're gonna end up like talking way too long. But I want to make sure to talk about how here in the Gather community, working with solopreneurs and coaches and the people that that we have in our circles outside of the corporate work. uh you've become a master NLP coach, you've become a Reiki master, you're doing hypnotherapy, you have a new membership. So talk a little bit about those things specifically for probably who our audience is, which is typically women leaders and entrepreneurs.
so the NLP is all about the mindset. It's all about communication. It's all about how our communication is impacted by our thoughts, our memories, our beliefs, our experiences from way back when in our childhood and beyond. Um, and so NLP will go whether it's one-on-one, corporate, group, all of that. It will go everywhere and anywhere with me. The Reiki can be a little different. It's so what I tell people is I'm science, which and I'm woo. So I'm science and woo. And
There's so much that now though about woo being based in science. Like woo is needs like I think that term really is gonna go by the wayside before too long because they're finding so much more reality in the things we used to call woo.
so There are hospitals now that bring Reiki healing
I know.
into the
Amazing.
hospital rooms to really build up the energy levels in those that are healing.
Yeah, I love that. I was just talking with another gal who's a hypnotherapist who was talking very similarly about hypnotherapy as well.
Yes. So,
Amazing.
yeah. So hypnotherapy is it's like the science and the woo combined.
Yeah,
Um, and it's really tapping into that unconscious mind because a lot of times we do the conscious work and we don't always do the unconscious work. So the science and the woo and the hypnotherapy help bridge that with, in addition to releases and the timeline techniques,
yeah,
um, at the quantum level for the unconscious mind. So all of that and bringing the alignment in allows us to really like free up and expand our energy and move forward with this
yeah,
expanded mindset.
yeah. I love it. I love it. It's incredible. And that work for people who haven't experienced it, all it takes is a little willingness
Mm.
to try it. And when you're willing to try it, then you're there in a state of willingness.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden it will, like, you feel it, you see how it affects you. It's the people who aren't willing who think it is weird,
yeah,
right? But as soon as you are like, you know what, maybe I should just give it a shot and experience it for myself. And as soon as you say that to yourself and try a session or try a group or whatever, it all changes.
right. Which is the reason why I started my membership is so people can experience meditation and experience Reiki and
Mhm.
experience breath work and
Yeah,
group hypnotherapy and tools like that in a safe environment
yeah,
where they're not like just me and them and they're like, I
yeah,
don't know what to do.
yep.
So it gives them that safe space to experience it at a very low cost.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm thrilled to be a founding member of your membership because I 100% believe in it. And I'm looking forward to I think it's next week where I'm going to get my first opportunity to be at a thing. So that's going to be amazing. And yeah, anyone who's listening, if if you tell yourself you can't meditate, if you tell yourself I haven't done that, I'm not, whatever, like, give yourself permission to say, I wonder what it would be like.
Yeah.
And as soon as you open that, then come try it out,
Yeah.
because you never know until you try, right? Just like eating your vegetables. You never know if you like it until you try. And we know it's good for us. So give it a try.
Yeah.
And it tastes
We all
better.
know whether you say you can or you say you can't, you're right.
Right.
So it just depends on which direction you want to go.
Yep. Yeah. Be open to it. I love it. Amazing. Okay, Kat. We're going to make sure to have the info for your membership in the show notes and everything. And I love this whole conversation because it really gave a more in-depth picture of, like, you are a natural, like, communication bridge, whether it's between you and someone that you have met before, or just you can hear, like, those listening skills that you fostered from the very beginning that got you where you went.
Mhm.
It's what That's the value of coaching. It's the value of all of this work, is to have someone hear us and see us so that we can then be understood
Mhm.
and supported to go forward. So I'm thrilled that you're in this space. I love the plan to work towards corporate teams. I love that. That's going to be in a different community. But for us, we're going to be a part of your, what is it? What's the name of the membership again?
Calm, clarity, and reset.
Calm, Clarity, Reset. For some reason, I had like Rise, Resilient, something. Maybe that was a
Well,
different thing.
because I have my Facebook group where I do my interview
That's
series
what it was.
is the Resilient, Wild, and Unstoppable Facebook group.
That's what it was. Okay, so we're going to make sure to have all of those. And in fact, I need you to send me those because they're not on the original form because it's all new. So
Right.
thank you so much for all of your time today, for sharing your whole story and all of the bold decisions that you made that got you where you are. I appreciate you. And everyone, go visit Kat, get to know her, and we'll talk to you again super soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sweetheart. Thank you for listening to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. I'm your host, Tracie Root, and I want to invite you to check out the show notes, find out where you can connect with our guests, find out more about what I and the Gather community have to offer you, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform. Thanks so much.